Hello, Sarver. How are you today?
Can you hear us?
Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. How was your travels?
We were in the plane for a long time, Jason, but I was able to get a lot of pretty important things done in alignment for our company. So it was, to me, very, very beneficial. David slept a little bit.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Two of the hardest working men that I knew. Listen, let's jump right into it. I love so much about how you all conduct your business, and I know that it is principled and structured. Let's get a little bit into business structure. John, if you would, I would like for you to handle the philosophical angle, and David, if you would, the practical angle. John's going to tell us why we do what we do. David's going to tell us how we get it done. So, John, in your mind, what is a point that you would like to touch on in terms of business structure?
Well, first of all, thanks, Jason, for putting all of this together. I know that you've been working very, very hard today and diligent beyond today to do this, and that does not go unnoticed. So we thank you for your hard work and all that you've done and to put it together, and we appreciate all of those who are attending and listening. So I've really had a chance to think a lot about what your question is. And the reason that I have is because we are working on some major shifts in our company, and it's requiring us to clarify our vision. And in order to do that, I've got to put it down on paper. And those who know me would know, be able to tell you that I've been working very hard along with David and the additions that he's had in tweaking our business plan to fit the vision and where I'm going. And what I've realized, honestly, as I've been putting this together is the depth of what we're doing and really the breadth of what we're doing insofar as the three main core components of our company are leadership. David and I are here at the International Maxwell Conference. John Maxwell is an internationally known leadership speaker and author. And
please, I don't mean to interrupt, but I would love for you to go in a little bit as to how you all established a relationship with Mr. Maxwell.
Very good question. So I was in a transitionary time about a decade ago. Our family had just come out of a really very, very hard time where we literally lost our home and we were homeless. And you always hear other people at times talk about experiences like that, and experiencing it is not a lot of fun. I think David and his sisters could tell you that it was a very tough time. As a matter of fact, for a period of time, our family was literally split up. Diane took the girls, went to stay with a friend, and Diane and I stayed over with her mother because it was just too much for her mother to handle. But within that time, and this is true for all of us, at our lowest times, God brings the greatest blessings. We've just got to be looking for it. We just got to be willing to experience it. And I came about an opportunity to get to know John Maxwell and his vision, which 10 years ago was much different than it is now. As a matter of fact, I was a founding member over a decade ago of the John Maxwell team. We met down at Palm Beach, and there were 700 of us. And a year ago this week, when I got reconnected with Maxwell, because I have been teaching this stuff, Jason, as you've seen me at Sarver Corp, and the teaching that have been very much a core of what I've done. So we reconnected with him last year, and it's been off and running ever since. But the big thing that it's done, the connection with John, is it has encouraged me and by association, David, to be around better people. And when you're around better people, you do better things. And if I can leave you with that, if you're the smartest one in your group, you're not as smart as you think you are. Find better people and get to know them and learn from them.
Absolutely. One thing I love about you, Mr. Sarver, is your humility. Just to tell that story takes heart and humility. David, what your father just expressed to us in terms of duplicating oneself and being around people that are better than you, how do you put that into action?
Well, you know what? We're always looking for superstars, and we're trying to build the team around that. We're not looking out for selfish players or selfish team leaders. We're looking out for people that really have a heart for others and really want to help people, because it's a people business. And if you don't like other people, then you're not going to really go far in this business. So that's how I would say we're always looking for the people that are people.
Absolutely. And now, one other thing I would love to clarify is you're redefining your business structure as we speak, which is incredible. But what I want people to know is what necessitated that is growth. Tell me about how you're adjusting in terms of the growth that you're expecting.
Yeah. So, you want to go first?
No, go for it. And then I'll add.
We started 8 years ago, right? So when we started 8 years ago, I was just myself as an individual sales agent, right? Just one person, literally one person. I didn't have my father or a bunch of people around me. It was just me with the dream, right? So we built it up. We got more people. We hired some employees. We got more sales agents over the last 8 years. And then we, had to get more offices and more structure. Long story short, right now, we distribute for the ACP program, Affordability Connectivity Program, and the Lifeline program through other master agents, which means they're the ones that are direct to the government and the FCC. Mm-hmm. So now we've kind of outgrown our suppliers and outgrown our vendors, where now we are going to be direct to the government and direct to the FCC, where we control the whole food chain, kind of like McDonald's, right? McDonald's owns the entire process. They own the real estate, they own the farm, they own the cow, they own the whole enchilada. And that's our goal, right? We own the distribution company, and we're also direct to the U.S. government and the FCC. So therefore, there is no middleman or problem. So that's the next step of our growth, which is cutting out the middle guy and jump into the government.
Absolutely. McDonald's doesn't sell burgers; they sell a system to their franchisees.
Yes, sir.
Now, in terms of the Sarver system, which is duplicated because it works, what are the next steps in terms of the evolution?
Well, we focus on first the reproduction and the enhancement of the individual. What we believe in Lifeline and now ACP is you got to have better people representing your product. You have better people representing your product by taking the time to invest in them, by going the extra mile. We often say we give a hand up, not a handout. You've heard me say that before at our meetings.
And it's so true.
We really mean that. That's the thing that David and I are trying to drive home, is that this is not accompanying a bunch of mindless cliches where we don't mean what we say, but we do. So the first component of that is the building up of people, finding better people. We also do that, Jason, and I profiled you just recently with the DISC profile, and that helps us determine major personality tendencies and sub-tendencies, and then really we know the profile that works out in the field. We know the profiles that work in the office, and it takes a skill, it takes ability, but once you get it, one person in the room, in your room tonight, Jose, has really embraced that. So leadership elevation systems is one of the fluid parts of our company in terms of locking in to the one that is going to advance us most. Of course, we use ERP, which is the accountability tracking system, which is greatly helped with the help of Jose and Ramon to track and hold people accountable. That's been a big difference. And then accountability is we hold people accountable on a weekly basis. David and I meet with our leaders every other week. Jose meets with them once a month. And then obviously we meet with them on Monday and we pour into them. That's part of what we want to do.
Absolutely. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Jose. They're in the house. In the housey house. Yes, as I told John and David in our meeting, it was the first time I ever looked forward to being profiled.
And you passed with flying colors, my friend. You passed with flying colors. And it tells us a lot about the people we're working with, because then we know if we're pushing buttons. When Jose and I are going at it in the office, and we often do, I tell him, we just got to tamp down our high D's a little bit and listen to each other. So
Jose is the master of the understatement. After my profile, when I had to go speak with him, all he said to me was, "Hey man, production."
Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't messing around. It's true.
Absolutely. Okay, now I'd like to segue into another thing that is essential to the Sarver method, which is team building. You are duplicating yourself, which means you're teaching others how to duplicate themselves. What advice would you have for someone building a team?
My advice would really model the masters and don't be afraid to make mistakes. There's a great book called Failing Forward. And, my advice is just mess up as much as you can and then keep going forward. The only reason why I learned how to build so many teams around the country is not because I got it right every time. It's probably because I messed up a lot. So, the only way to lose is to give up and quit, and the only way to fail is to quit. So my advice to any team builder is, number one, you is a representation of you, right? So if you're the team leader, it's monkey see, monkey do. You can't tell people, hey, buddy, go out and do this if you're not willing to do it. That's called a manager, right? A manager, or maybe even a boss, might tell you something, but they won't show you how to do it, right? They don't lead by example. I became a good team builder because I'm not afraid to get in the trenches again and show people how to do it the right way until it's done the right way. And I let people mess up on purpose because that's the only way to fix it, without being upset about it. You have a great attitude and you want people to mess up and learn from that. Because if you get it right every time, then, you're never going to learn, when things go bad. So that's what my advice to people.
Michael Jordan spoke about needing to have the courage to miss all of the shots that he missed to make the ones that he made. So it's a beautiful mantra. I love that.
David's got that a picture on his wall, Jason. When you come in next time, take a look at his wall. You'll see that statement up on his wall.
Yeah, Michael Jordan and Kobe. Yeah.
Mr. and Mr. Sarver, would it be possible to center yourselves in the camera a little bit more?
There we go.
We want to make sure we see your smiling faces. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So we were speaking about team building. In terms of choosing people that you think will be good leaders and or build solid teams, what do you look for?
Well, there are things I look for in terms of somebody who's humble, for sure, is willing to listen and glean. I find, and this is really true of all of us, the younger generation, if you're willing to use 2 ears and 1 mouth, it's going to advance you big time. And if you don't, you'll end up stubbing your foot. I also look for people who are willing to show up and participate. And I always tell people, hey, if you want to get to know the owners, if you want to move up in this company, show up on Mondays. Remember I told you that too, Jason, just show up.
Absolutely.
And showing up, participating, and asking questions. Last week, you missed it, bud, but we did the hokey pokey in the office. So one of the things
I didn't miss it. I witnessed it virtually and I joined in.
You got to get over yourself, don't you? And part
Absolutely.
of getting over yourself
I literally did it with my dog.
There you go.
For real.
It's exactly what we're talking about.
And I could feel the vibe of what you were talking. You were trying to get people to a space where they're more accessible to others because they're not taking themselves so seriously. And it worked. I loved it. I haven't hokey pokeyed in years.
Well, once you get beyond yourself and you stop worrying about what other people think, because quite frankly, and I told everybody in this room, nobody else is looking at you. They don't care. Okay?
They're worried about how they look hokey pokeying.
Yeah. You just start doing it because trust me, the one next to you looks more silly than you do. Just participate and dive in. And when we find people willing to do that, then we can lift them up and help them get to the next level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The last thing I wanted to touch on with you gentlemen is building and keeping momentum. What are your thoughts?
One of my favorite things is to watch on YouTube is Law of the Big Mo by John Maxwell. And that really right there explains to you how to build momentum and keep momentum. Momentum, the leader's best friend. And when you don't have momentum, it can make you look really bad, or it can make you look really good. So, you always want to keep the momentum up, but it's like a train, right? When a train first gets started, you could put a wood chip in front of the train track at 1 mile per hour and it'll stop the train. But we all know once the train gets going, it's impossible to stop. So, my suggestion is in the beginning, say it takes a couple months to build momentum, is you gotta go hard at it every day until you see momentum be created. And leaders build momentum. You can't just wait around for momentum to randomly come. You got to go build it, right? You got to go out there and create it.
Absolutely.
And I'd add this, Jason, that building and creating momentum is about finding a way when you get slapped on the side of the face, and you're going to a lot, to be able to pick yourself up, put one foot in front of the other, and keep going forward. I remember a couple of years ago, my buddy who I was with on that hike is going out there literally tomorrow to start this. I went up to a big hike in the Sierras, and to make a long story short, there was a raging forest fire that pushed us back over the second highest mountain pass in the Sierras. We literally went over the same pass 3 times in less than 20 hours. And
wow.
As I was lamenting the fact of, oh my gosh, we got to go do it again, my buddy said to me, if you have a raging fire coming up your rear end, and he didn't use rear end, he said, you're going to move. And at times in our life, we just put one foot down in the front and the others. And guess what? We made it. You would not believe how hard that hike was, but you put one foot in front of the other. You don't look at the whole thing. You just keep it right in front. You'll make it. And that's what happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. David Sarver, John Sarver, I can't tell you how much your participation, your partnership in this podcast mean to me. The fact that you're all the way across the country and you chimed in, man, it means more to me than I can say.
Jason, we're grateful. Thank you, bud.
Thank you. It doesn't do justice how much I feel for you guys, man. And you guys are changing lives. You gentlemen, simply put, you're changing lives. I see it every day, every Monday at Sarver Corp during the meetings. There's no doubt about it. You're changing lives. And I really want to leave you with that thought.
Well, you're a big part of that, bud. We appreciate you. Thank you.
When I say Sarver, you say Core, Sarver, Sarver.
Core.
Yeah, that's right. David Sarver, John Sarver, Sarver Corporation. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, fellas. Thank you so much. Have a blessed night.
You as well.